I know times have been difficult with the coronavirus and this whole self-isolation thing going on in many places of the world. But if you live in the US and are thinking of filing for unemployment, whether you are salary, hourly, part-time, independent contractor, or even self-employed, you more than likely are eligible to receive $600 a week and more if you file for unemployment. Stick around and be sure to watch this video till the end as I explain to you exactly what the stimulus package entails for people filing for unemployment and how to claim that money. So on March 27th, Congress passed the Corona Aid Relief and Economic Security Act, or CARES Act. This law is meant to address the economic fallout of the 2020 coronavirus pandemic. The original bill included over $500 billion in checks for Americans and $300 billion for small businesses. And as they continued negotiating, it actually grew to a whopping $2 trillion. Under the revised bill, individuals and families who have been affected by COVID-19 are eligible to receive a direct payment in the form of a tax rebate of $1,200 for all individuals whose income is $75K or lower. $2,400 for married couples whose combined income is $150K or lower, and an additional $500 payment for each qualifying child. If you make more than $75K a year or $150K as a couple, the $1,200 or $2,400 tax rebate starts to decrease until you hit $99K or $197K as a couple. I'll include a link to a website that lets you calculate exactly the amount that you will be getting from the rebate. Moreover, the CARES Act has a clause that temporarily suspends payments on any federal student loans and establishes special rules for withdrawals from certain retirement plans without penalty fees. The key points are that you can withdraw up to $100K without the 10% penalty that normally applies to those who are under the age of 59 and a half and still decide to withdraw money. You still need to pay income tax on whatever you are taking out, but this measure would give you up to 3 years to pay those taxes and replace the money taken out of the retirement plan. There are many other clauses for small and big businesses that are in the CARES Act, but I want to focus on people who are filing for unemployment, whether they had an employer, have an employer with reduced hours, or are self-employed. The rule is that all workers who have been laid off or have reduced hours can file a claim for UI, which stands for Unemployment Insurance Assistance. Each state has a different website, so be sure to find the one for your state. I'll put a link to the California one in the description of this video since I'm in California. There's also a couple of useful links for my SAG-AFTRA viewers, which are very helpful. Most of the info applies to independents too, so you might as well check it out. This UI application can be done fully online. Usually there is a 1-week waiting period between the application and when your unemployment takes effect. But due to the state of the world in this difficult time, the 1-week waiting period has been lifted. Once you file online, you will have to wait about 7 to 10 days for them to mail you a form stating that they received your application, and you might have to fill out 1 or 2 more papers with a little bit more info on how much or if you accepted any work during the time that you filed and you received the unemployment paperwork back. They will also send you a letter that you have to mail back to them asking if you would prefer to get a debit card to use to receive your weekly benefits or a check each week. Do know that accepting a check will usually delay your payments by 7 to 10 days each time, as they need to mail it to you and you will also have to deposit it. So I just recommend to go with a debit card. Since this is unemployment that you're receiving, EDD, which stands for the Employment Development Department, will also send you a letter which requires you to register for work. Each person claiming benefits has 21 days from the date of the notice to complete the registration information and add a resume on the EDD website. Since we are under a pandemic, finding work is going to be difficult, but at least do make sure to register so that all the paperwork is in order. Not doing so may delay or terminate your benefits. Applying for unemployment as an employee who is under W-2 is pretty simple because they can determine your unemployment based on prior wages. Now, as a gig and self-employed worker, you will qualify for unemployment on the basis that you have the proper work and pay documentation. Without the right paperwork, gig and self-employed workers may not be able to collect pandemic unemployment assistance and other unemployment aid. The good news is that if you file your taxes each year, you most probably already have all your 1099s, receipts, and records that can prove how much money you made and how much taxes you paid. After all, this aid is for taxpayers, so they just need to ensure that you get unemployment on the basis of what you declared. The same logic applies to under-the-table workers paid in cash. People such as bartenders who derive big chunks of their paycheck from tips will probably still qualify, but only for the work that was declared and taxed by the IRS. Each state will determine the size of unemployment checks based on a worker's prior wages, generally over the last 4 quarters. In California, unemployment can range from $50 to $450 a week. The CARES Act allows for an additional $600 per week payment to the base benefit amount for unemployment claims. This means that if your benefit is only $100 a week, you will actually receive $700 a week. This extra assistance is in effect from April 1st and will last till July 31st. Once the additional federal assistance is exhausted, people who are still unemployed will only receive their normal benefit amount administered by their state. This extra assistance is in effect from April 1st and will last till July 31st. The CARES Act also provides for an additional 13 weeks of continued $600 a week payments for individuals who remain unemployed after exhausting their state unemployment benefits. This means eligible workers will be able to receive unemployment benefits for up to 39 weeks rather than the 26-week cap under most state programs. The aim of these stimulus packages is not intended to prevent a recession, but to ensure the crisis is contained, workers suffer less, and the likely recession does not become a lost decade. Every tactic that was progressively deployed to mitigate the global financial crisis already has been redeployed in just 2 weeks. I know that this is a very broad subject, and I really did my best to research this topic, keep it condensed, and explain it as simply as possible. I personally had to go through this process myself, and I felt overwhelmed by it, so I hope that I was able to give you a little bit of guidance. Please leave me a comment with any questions and I'll do my best to answer them. If you do feel that this video helped, please be sure to subscribe and smash that like button. Also, don't forget to check out the links in the description because they will have a ton of information, including pictures and even a step-by-step guide for all my artists and SAG-AFTRA members that will help you in your process for claiming unemployment and taking advantage of the CARES Act. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.